I'm going to share my screen. I'll probably share it and unshare it a time or two during the talk. I'm going to share a PowerPoint with you. Let's see if I can do it right. Hang on just a second. We'll see what happens here. I'm loading a PowerPoint, and for whatever reason, it's taking its time. I actually tried this out yesterday, and it worked fine.
Everyone's having internet issues today. Don't worry, you're not alone. I think every member is struggling. So.
Well, you know, my internet is supposed to be 100 megabytes per second, and it goes as low as like 2 or 3 sometimes.
Well, you also live in a Launchfoot, so believe me, I can sympathize with you.
Yeah. Well, I'll just tell you while we're waiting here, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about me, a little bit about what I do and what my approach is. And then I'm going to talk to you a little about the theory of Chinese medicine and make an offer to you. And then I hope that there'll be time to answer some questions, because people often have questions about acupuncture and Chinese medicine. Well, I'm not, are you seeing, oh, it says, sorry, sharing is unavailable at this time. Please try again later. Well, that changes my talk quite a bit.
We can still see it. It's not quite the end. We can still see the presentation. So it's not quite the end of the world.
Well, I can't right now. Do you see a sorry sharing is on a, yeah, that I can't even get that to go. Oh, there we go. That's going away. But
yeah,
if I can't,
we can still see the presentation. Yeah. It's fine. You can just do it on like a slightly.
But I can't do anything with it. I can't move from slide to slide.
You should be able to. You can click.
Aaron. Hi, Aaron. I think you try sharing. You're inside like a Google thing. You should try going to slide. Under slide, there should be a thing where you can play the slideshow.
Yeah, there's a present button.
Yeah, but
no, not present. We can still see Google Meetings. Presenting is about Google Meetings. You're in Zoom. You're not in Google Meetings, so you can't present. You just want to do.
I actually did. I did that, and it worked just fine. No, I mean, it should work.
It's not. It won't let you do that because you're in Zoom.
Yeah. Oh no, it's working now.
There you go. There you go.
It does work. Present works, or at least in theory it does, because I tried it yesterday. Sorry this is taking so long, folks.
Aaron, the present will only work when you're not in Zoom, because Zoom won't let you also run. It won't let you run sharing twice. That's the issue, I think.
Well, no, I'm trying to tell you that I did it yesterday that way and it worked.
Yeah, it should be fine. It's just a Wi-Fi.
I tried it out, so exactly this wouldn't happen. Although we're not at the beginning of the show here. There we go. Hang on a second. There we go. Let's see if that works. All right. So I hope you can see me on the side there or on top, and you also can see my slide. And so I'm Dr. Aaron Kenin. What am I a doctor of? I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. So the MSOM means, you can see down at the bottom, it's a Master's of Science in Oriental Medicine. That's a 4-year degree in California. And then DACM is Doctor of Acupuncture and Chinese Medicine. LAC, that means I'm a California licensed acupuncturist, and the Diplomat OM from the National Certification Commission for Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine is the national license in the United States. Here in Israel, as it turns out, currently acupuncture is unregulated. So I have a lot of training and experience, but it's probably a good idea to ask when you work with any acupuncturist what their background is, because any one of you could start practicing acupuncture tomorrow as far as Israeli law is concerned, and I don't think you'd have a problem. You might not have very good results. I don't know. All right, so here's what I'm doing. I'm going to talk about me, give an overview of Chinese medicine, tell you about what a session or course of treatment with me is like, and tell you what my offer to you is. I've been practicing since 15 years. It's maybe 14. I practiced for 12 years in California. I had a private clinic for about 3 years, and I was in practice with another acupuncturist and a massage therapist in a clinic that we co-owned for 8 years in Oakland, California. I made Aliyah in August of 2019 and set up a private clinic here in Alon Shvut. And I just got a room that I'm going to start treating in Givat Shaul on Thursdays. It's actually in the same building that the Nefesh B'Nefesh office is in. So that'll be starting next month. And what do? I assist my clients with immediate concerns, such as easing pain and discomfort and with longer term objectives. Oh, I got a typo there. It should say to help them establish balance, health, and reach greater potential in their lives. And if there's time, we'll talk a little bit more about what kinds of conditions I treat, besides ones that have to do with pain. My approach, so I use an approach that combines traditional Chinese medicine, and I'll tell you more about what that means. Traditional Chinese acupuncture and herbology with the specialized techniques of trigger point acupuncture, also can be called motor point acupuncture, electroacupuncture, which means connecting an electrical current to the needles, cupping, which is applying suction cups to the body, moxibustion, which is burning mugwort over the surface of the body, gua sha, which is frictioning the surface of the body with various tools, and tui na, which is Chinese medical massage. Oh, my slide is not sliding. Let's see if I can do it this way. All right, so I try to help my patients to live pain-free or with less pain. Sometimes I'm able to help a patient completely get rid of pain. Sometimes we have to learn to live with a certain amount of pain, but acupuncture can help a lot. And for people who don't want to be taking drugs all the time, then some sort of regular acupuncture treatment can help them to live as close to pain-free as possible and not be taking pharmaceuticals with dangerous side effects. I help people heal from injuries, and that includes healing from surgery, to avoid surgery. That's a major one. I also help people to improve digestion and metabolism, reduce stress, and to make shifts in our attention that help change our lives. Where we place our attention and how we use our bodies in space and time, and the patterns of thinking and of movement through space that we have, create the patterns and pathologies in our body over years. And so if we can direct our attention to where those issues are and work on making changes, we can often do a lot more in our own time with that shift in attention than you can do with just a treatment a week or a treatment every 2 weeks. My particular specialty is orthopedic conditions. That doesn't mean I only treat orthopedic conditions. That means I most enjoy treating orthopedic conditions, and that's a lot of what I've done. So orthopedic means related to the muscles, the bones, and the joints. Those of you who are from other parts of the world besides the United States might think that orthopedic is misspelled there. It can be spelled differently, but that's one way to spell it. So that's neck and shoulder pain. And oftentimes neck and shoulder pain, because of pinched nerves in the neck can lead to numbness and tingling in the arms and hands, to weakness of the grip. And if it goes it goes without attention, that can lead to muscle atrophy. So it's important to, if you're feeling numbness and tingling in your arms, your hands, or weakness of grip, it's not only the pain, it's where that can go. So that requires attention. Deal with back pain. That means upper back, mid back, low back, and low back pain often leads into sciatic disorders, which most people know the term sciatica. There's technical sciatica and various related disorders, and it basically has to do with the nerves that go through the lower back, the buttocks, and the legs, all the way down into the feet, being pinched at some place along their route, and that can lead to pain, numbness, and tingling in the legs and feet. Plantar fasciitis, some people say plantar fasciitis, and repetitive, I'm not a pro at this, there we go. Repetitive stress injuries such as carpal tunnel syndrome. You see that a lot with people who do a lot of typing. So, overview of Chinese medicine. What does Chinese medicine include? Acupuncture. Most people are familiar with the word acupuncture, and that I'll talk to you more about what that means, but acupuncture is using needles to manipulate energy in the body to help the body heal. There's also Chinese herbal medicines. There are hundreds of them, and they're combined in groups often of 4 or 5 up to like 15 to make formulas. And there are many traditional formulas, and then there are also customized herbal formulas for each patient. Lots of acupuncturists don't do herbal medicine. Most people who do herbal medicine also do acupuncture. And in California, where I was trained and licensed, the licensure includes acupuncture and herbal medicine, and I do both. Some of my patients get one or the other. Many of my patients get both. Tui na, the Chinese medical massage. This is a pathological condition focused massage typically. which means you're not just coming in and getting a massage so it feels good. And sometimes Tui Na doesn't feel good. It's more like deep tissue massage or sports massage, although not all the techniques are deep. And there's some manipulation of joints along with the massage. So if you come in with a particular pain in a particular body part, the Tui Na is focused on helping to resolve that pain and get that body part moving. Very useful, for example, for frozen shoulder, which is a common problem in late middle-aged adults, especially women. Cupping and gua sha. What is cupping? Cupping is let's see, I've got some toys here. I don't have my cups in this kit. Sorry. Cupping means taking a glass or plastic cup and putting a vacuum in it and putting it on the surface of the skin. Gua sha is using traditionally it's a piece of buffalo horn, but it's a tool to rub the surface of the skin. By creating friction, it causes healing to come to that area. Moxibustion is lighting an herb over the surface of the skin. This can help the blood to move. It can help to heat cold areas, and it can also help to heal tissue that needs healing. And then electroacupuncture, as I mentioned, is connecting electricity to currents of electricity between two needles. So it's similar to the pads that you may have seen. There's TENS pads, and they go onto the surface of the skin. You might have seen that in physical therapy. Electroacupuncture is something similar, but it stimulates the needles. All right, so Chinese medical theory. People have heard talk about qi, yin and yang, maybe 5 elements. And qi is often talked about as if it were some sort of a mysterious thing. And people talk about it as life force, energy, that kind of thing. But a lot of what seems mysterious and mystical in Chinese medicine, it's really a question of translating between systems of thought. So I'm gonna make a statement to you for a moment, and I want you to think about whether or not this statement sounds true or false to you, okay? When you tap on the desk in front of you, it feels solid, but it's mostly empty space. Is that true or false? So most of us, if we were raised in the West and taught Western science, are going to say that's true. And I'm going to say, okay, that's mostly empty space because it's really made of molecules, which are made out of atoms, which are made out of protons and electrons, which are really super submicroscopic. And they have properties on the macroscopic level, but mostly there's almost nothing there. And if you want to get down into quantum mechanics, then actually there are only probabilities of energy being in a certain place at a certain time. And if you want to know more about that, you can look into Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So that, to somebody who wasn't raised in the West and didn't have Western scientific education, would honestly sound like a bunch of insanity, right? You get hit by a bus and you're squished on the street, but it was just mostly empty space. So just think about that when somebody's talking to you about qi or yin and yang, and it sounds like they're a quack, and it sounds like they're talking a bunch of hocus pocus, mystical mumbo jumbo. A lot of times, the way that we think and what we accept as true would sound exactly that way to somebody who wasn't educated the way that we were educated. So I'm going to translate for you a little bit about what qi is. Qi means energy, but it's not some sort of mystical life force any more than life force is mystical by its very essence. In Chinese concept, qi doesn't just mean energy. So if you have a living body, then that body has qi. And if the qi leaves the body, now you have a dead body. So that's pretty basic. But qi also has to do with function, and it has to do with direction of function. So for example, the stomach has its own qi. The lungs have their own qi. When you eat food, you get food qi. Your body's ability to defend against foreign pathogens is called defensive qi. So we might call that your immune system. And we might say that the nutrition that you get from your food gives you energy to live, and the Chinese system might call that food qi. And then we talk about the function of the stomach. So in Chinese medicine, the qi of the stomach is supposed to go downward and outward. What that means is that in the normal function of stomach, it digests food, and then that food gets spread around the body. So we can have qi counterflow or qi stagnation. So if you have qi stagnation in the stomach, you're going to feel nausea. That just means your stomach's not working right. and it's not moving things in the way that it should. And if you get counter qi, you get qi counterflow in the stomach, you might have heartburn or vomiting. So really, it's a matter of translating concepts. I'm not going to go deeply into yin or yang or 5 elements, but the basic idea of yin and yang is that the Chinese system, Chinese medicine system, thinks of things in terms of yin and yang, and these are relative energies. And yang is more movement, more heat, might consider it to be more masculine energy. Yin has to do more with structure and more with cold, and might be considered to be more of a feminine energy, but it's all relative. One thing is not yin and one thing is not yang. Things are yin and yang relative to each other. So the day is yang relative to the night because the day has light and things move more in the day and there's more heat during the day. The yin is, the night is yin relative to the day because it's dark and there's less movement. The winter is yin relative to the summer being yang, this kind of thing. So within the body, things that have to do more with movement, more with heat, those are more yang. Things that have to do more with structure, those are more yin, for example. And so the organ systems in Chinese medicine, when we talk about organs in Chinese medicine, you might hear a Chinese practitioner say that you have kidney qi deficiency, or you have liver fire. When we talk about the elements, when we talk about the organs in Chinese medicine, we're not talking about the Western anatomical organ per se. We're talking about the way those organs were understood thousands of years ago in Chinese medicine. And so each organ is attributed a certain set of functions, and they may or may not correspond exactly to the Western anatomical and physiological functions in modern scientific thinking. So if your acupuncturist tells you that your kidney qi is deficient, that does not mean that you need dialysis. It means within Chinese system of thinking, the parts of the body that are controlled by the kidney qi are weak. So for example, you might have lower back pain, you might have leaky urination, or you might have frequent urination, or you might have urinary tract infections that occur regularly. That has to do with kidney qi deficiency. Also having teeth that have teeth problems, or hair falling out prematurely or turning gray, or certain kinds of tinnitus, your ears ringing, those can all be attributed to malfunctions of the kidney qi. So in the Chinese system, there are 6 organ pairs, and they're yin and yang pairs, and they interrelate with each other in certain ways and control certain functions of the body. So for example, the lung and the kidney together, they're not actually part of the same yin yang pair, but together they function to create what's called the defensive qi, which means that if your defensive qi is low because of lung and kidney function being deficient, you're going to catch colds a lot of the time, or have constant chronic rhinitis, say, for example, other types of allergies. So you have these 6 organ systems, and each organ has a set of channels that are also called meridians that go through it. There's a major channel for each organ. These are theoretical channels that exist in Chinese medicine theory. They're not physically palpable channels. If you dissected a cadaver, you wouldn't find these channels. They're theoretical energetic channels. You can believe in them or not, but based on the theory and using them, we get results. So each organ has a channel that goes through it, and one of the channels, and in these organ pairs, the channels cross each other and penetrate each other's organs. And then they have superficial parts of the channels that go along the surface of the body, and there are energetic points on those channels, and those are the acupuncture points, which can be manipulated with needles, with massage, with pressure, that type of thing. And I'll give you just to give a little more reality to that idea that the surface of the body can be connected to an internal organ. Most people have probably heard of or seen in the movies somebody getting a heart attack and feeling shoulder pain. So that's an internal organ that's manifesting a pathology on the surface of the body. And it can go both ways. You can manipulate points of the body to get an effect on the organ, and things going on the organ can have an effect on the body. So how does diagnosis work in Chinese medicine? the way it works is through looking at the person, at the way they walk, at the way they talk, listening to how their voice sounds and other body sounds. Just like in Western medicine, you listen to the lungs. Looking at the tongue. Tongue diagnosis is important in Chinese medicine. If there's time, I can talk more about it. Feeling the pulse on the wrists. This gives us a vision into what's going on with the organ systems, and then also listening to the person talk about the symptoms that they're experiencing. And what's after a diagnosis is made, it's called a pattern diagnosis. So, for example, if somebody comes in complaining of low back pain, and through this diagnosis, we determine that the problem is kidney qi deficiency, that's the pattern diagnosis. That's what we treat. We're not actually treating the low back pain per se, but if we treat the underlying pattern, then the symptoms resolve. So 2 different people could have 2 different symptoms based on the same underlying pattern, get a similar treatment, and have the same results. All right, so, oh, my thing's going slow there. I've talked about that. So what's a session or a course of treatment like? You know, there's one more, actually, before I get into that, there's one more point I wanted to make. I might have lost a slide here somewhere. There's a principle in Chinese medicine that is called same condition or same disease, different treatment, and different disease, same treatment. So for example, 2 people come in with 2 different complaints. One person has low back pain and the other person has frequent urination. So we feel their pulse, they feel similar. We look at their tongue, they feel similar. And we ask the person with low back pain if they have any problems with urination. And they say, you know, sometimes there's a little leakage when I laugh, something like that. And the other person whose problem is frequent urination, we ask them, do you have any back pain? Sometimes I get an ache in my lower back, but that's not what I came in for. So those 2 people have similar patterns. So that's called different condition, same treatment, because they're going to get treated the same. Another person might come in who has low back pain, and the first guy who came in with low back pain has a back pain that gets worse by the end of the day, feels better after rest, and it's chronic. It's been going on for years. The other guy, he's never had back pain before. He just went to a barbecue, lifted up a big sack of charcoal, and all of a sudden his back started hurting. He's got a red face. He gets irritated very easily, and the pulse is different. So that person's treatment, that person's symptoms are based on qi stagnation, and the treatment is different for that person and the person who has the kidney qi deficiency, even though both of them came in with lower back pain. So your Western doctor is going to give you both non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs or steroids, maybe send you for an MRI if the problem doesn't go away, and maybe end up giving you very similar treatments. And actually, from a Chinese medicine perspective, they're different. So that's about that. Helena, I can't see if I'm getting flashes, or how am I doing on time here?
I'm going to the 5 minutes, I would say.
Okay, great. So a session with me, I'm not on my correct slide. I'm sorry, my technical stuff is not working the way I want it to. So you come in, the first session with me is a 90-minute session. Come in, sit down across the table from me, and we talk, and it's usually for about a half an hour. So you're talking about what brought you in, and I'm asking an extensive set of health history questions. And they're different if it's a man or if it's a woman, clearly. And I look at the tongue. The organ systems are mapped out on the tongue. We look at the color of the tongue, the thickness of the tongue, whether or not there are cracks in the tongue, the coating on the tongue, whether there are teeth marks or scalloping on the tongue. We feel the pulses, and the pulses on the wrists have 3 different positions on each wrist and 3 different levels, superficial, deeper, and deeper than that. And they correspond to different organ systems. So we're looking not only at the beats per minute and the pressure. I don't typically take blood pressure. Sometimes I do, but I ask you to tell me what your history is with blood pressure. And there's a bunch of different patterns of the pulse that are interpretable through Chinese medicine diagnosis. And so in that first half an hour, I'm learning about what's going on with you, making a diagnosis and planning a treatment. And then the treatment might be simply acupuncture, or especially for orthopedic conditions, a combination of acupuncture and massage. And any of the other techniques I mentioned might or might not be used, depending whether they're applicable to your condition and also whether you're comfortable with them. Some people don't want one technique or another. Other people specifically come in for it and want it, whether I think it's what they need or not. So depending on the condition that you have, one treatment might be sufficient. Oftentimes you need a course of treatment. So let's say somebody comes in with neck pain that's been bothering them for 4 years. You'd probably come in for that first treatment and then come in once a week or once every 2 weeks for 6 sessions, and then we'd reassess. Something that's been around for years is probably going to take more than 6 sessions. And certain things are amenable to be completely cured, so to speak. Other things require some kind of a maintenance treatment. So if you've got knee pain and you know that you have torn cartilage in your knees and you know that you have bone spurs, we might be able to get you to where you're pain-free or almost pain-free, but you need to do maintenance treatments and come in once every 2 weeks or come in once a month. And if you don't do that, then the pain comes back. And if you do that, unless you do something extreme or have a flare-up based on some particular activity or change in the weather, then you're likely to be pain-free. And it very much depends on what the condition is, whether a course of treatment is 6 treatments, whether it's maintenance treatments that go on, whether it's twice a week, whether it's once a week, whether it's once a month. It can depend a lot. But every treatment with me, the first treatment's 90 minutes. After that, treatments are 45 minutes to an hour, and an hour and a half if they include massage. And every treatment has a health history and face-to-face time talking, but not as extensive as the first time unless there's major changes that require that time. And then every treatment has a good amount of time, hands-on work where I'm working with you with needles and potentially with massage. And then also some time where you're left alone in the room with relaxing music to just sink down into the treatment, and I leave you alone and let you go into a state of parasympathetic relaxation and let the needles do their work. And I'm always listening to my patients and always answering questions. And I spend a lot of time working with people on diet and lifestyle modifications that can help them with their issues as well, whether that's stretching, exercising, and sometimes meditation. So that's basically what I do and how I work. And I do make house calls as well when necessary. Typically, that's for people who have mobility problems and are not able to get to my clinic. So my offer is that for the month of December, I'd like to give Jerusalem ESN members a free treatment if you'd like to come to my clinic and experience what I do, because I want people to refer their friends, their relatives, their colleagues to me. And I personally like to refer to people that I've worked with. I'm always willing, not just in December, but anytime, I'm always willing to trade an hour of my time for an hour of your time within the ESN group, so that if you have a service that you'd like me to experience and you want to experience what I do, we can trade with each other and refer each other based on our own personal hands-on experience. But for December, I'm offering all members one free treatment. How to get in touch with me? Of course, Helena keeps all of our information for each other on the website, but there's my information right there as well. And I definitely need help with my website and email marketing. So I'll be in touch with you guys. I'm going to stop the share here and be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, John. Oh, firstly, thank you so much. That was absolutely fantastic. A round of applause. I think that was really great to learn more about what you do. Does anyone have any questions?
Could I say something, Helena?
Absolutely.
I'd just like to say a long time ago, I had quite bad neck and back pains. I tried everything under the sun, and what worked in the end was acupuncture. And I would just like to say that the acupuncturist at the end of it said to me, you know, I'm going to give you some exercises, and you got to do these exercises. If you don't, you'll be back here and it's going to cost you a lot of money. And I do the exercises since then. I've been back to him, but not too often, thank God. And I would really recommend such treatment blindly. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Sarah.
Any other questions or feedback?
Maybe I could add regarding acupuncture. My father suffers from gout, a chronic problem. Sometimes he really swells up and the medication just doesn't work. And I know when he goes for acupuncture, it's the only thing that helps him. It's like amazing. Within like a day or two, he feels much, much better. It's really an amazing thing. Yeah.
I'm going to add my story. When I was little, my mother told me that my grandmother had gone to acupuncture to solve one problem. It might have been arthritis or something. And after that, she never smoked again. It totally stopped her smoking. And I thought, that is so interesting. And so that piqued my interest into acupuncture and natural therapies. So it's amazing how the body can heal itself so much just by simple, tweaking of one thing, and then all these amazing things happen. So yeah, you get my recommendation too.
Amazing. That's good to hear, Charlene.
Well, I'm hearing great recommendations for acupuncture, and I hope that some of you will come see me, and then you'll be able to recommend me personally.
Right,
I
Charlene?
wanted to say,
Oh.
I've been interested for a long time in this area, and I was in Douyin and read about Qi and whatnot. But I must say, I don't know how long you spoke, but I have never learned so much in such a short time. So thank you.
Oh, that's amazing. Charlene.
Okay. Just practical question. What day are you going to be in Jerusalem?
Thursdays. I haven't worked out the exact hours yet, but it's going to be on Thursdays.
Thursdays are good. Okay,
Great.
so I'll be in touch.
Great.
Awesome. Any more questions?
Yeah, I've got a question actually. And this is, as you noted, acupuncture is not something with which I am terribly familiar with. Actually, I think most of us are terribly familiar growing up. And I'd like to know if there have been any studies, any large-scale studies done on this. What kind of evidence has been amassed for the efficacy of acupuncture and massage and herbal medicine? Yeah,
so the short answer to your question is yes, lots. And in fact, my doctorate is mostly focused on that. Without looking at studies with you, I can only just tell you that there've been a lot of studies done, including attempts to do double-blind studies and triple-blind studies. It's particularly difficult to do double-blind studies with acupuncture because the practitioner knows whether they're sticking a needle in you or not, and generally the patient knows whether they're getting a needle stuck in them or not.
Maybe you can do it that the practitioner doesn't know he's sticking the needle in the right place.
Typically the way that so this is you're right on the right track. Typically the way that it's done is that there's three groups. There's the group that receives standard Western treatment for whatever the condition is. There's the group that receives real acupuncture. And then there's the group that receives what's called sham acupuncture, where needles are put in, but they're put in points that are not acupuncture points. And typically the results are as follows. The group for most conditions that gets the best benefit is the group that had the real acupuncture, but the group that had sham acupuncture actually typically does better than the group that had standard Western treatments for many conditions. There are lots of discussions about the placebo effect and also what's called the nocebo effect, which means when you don't believe in something, it doesn't work for you. And it's a whole field of study. And if you're familiar with using PubMed, then you'll easily find numerous studies. Many of them are done in China. More and more of them are done in the United States. And anybody who's interested in knowing more specifically and getting links to studies can contact me privately, and I'd be happy to help with that. Yeah,
definitely. I'm certainly interested, and I've just given you my email address, and I hope to be in touch with you in the near future about that. I'd like to learn
Great. More. And if you just Google or whatever your search engine of choice is, what conditions acupuncture is good for, you'll find that the Mayo Clinic lists a number of conditions and that the World Health Organization lists a number of conditions. And those are typically conditions where research has shown it to work. So for example, if you come to me and say, can acupuncture help me with depression? I'll say yes. But if you go to your insurance company, if in the United States, I work with insurance a lot, there are a number of insurance companies that pay for acupuncture, but they only pay for conditions that they feel the research has borne out it works for. They won't pay for acupuncture for depression in most of those, but they will pay for acupuncture for myofascial pain, which basically means pain in your muscles or your joints. So it really depends specifically what research has shown what, but it's still, even though it's been going on, the research has been going on for 20 years, it's still kind of in its infancy in determining from a Western perspective what it, let me restate that. It's not hard to show with research that people who receive acupuncture get better. The question is, what's the mechanism? And so the Chinese theory of what the mechanism is not acceptable to Western scientific thinkers. You can't tell me that there's energy flowing on a channel, but you can't show me the channel. Nobody's going to accept that from a Western scientific perspective. So there are more and more studies being done that try to show what the biophysical effects are when the needle penetrates the skin, when it's swirled and muscle fibers wrap around it, what's going on, prostaglandins being released, whatever it is that's causing the healing. So we're seeing the results. We're still working out from a Western medical perspective what the mechanisms are.
Awesome, thank you so much. Any more questions? Beautiful. Okay, fantastic.
Could I just say that we've got a lot of people with acupuncture covered as part of their supplementary medical insurance, but we've never had an application for depression being to be treated. We live and learn.
Fantastic. So
I'll say real quickly also, just really quickly, depending which Kupat Cholim you're in, if you're in Maccabee, you can actually get acupuncture at the Kupat Cholim, but you're not going to get the kind of face-to-face time and diagnosis. You're gonna be treated for pain. I went and interviewed with them. They wanted me to see 40 people in an hour. So you're talking about having 4 or 5 rooms running at one time. You go in with each person, you say, oh, neck pain, pop, 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 needles, and then you go to the next room. It's not, I wouldn't say don't do it. I wouldn't say that. I would say go for it, check it out. But it's not the same thing as having a real diagnosis and real face-to-face time and real hands-on time.
Awesome, great. I'm going to end you there, just because we are running a little bit over now. So thank you so much. That was absolutely fantastic. And like everyone has said, after the meeting, I'll be sending out everybody's email addresses, so you can be in touch with them and ask any questions. And what I'm going to do now is I'm now going to put you into another breakout room. This is the third breakout room, second breakout room, and again there will be a third one. It's now 10:20, so I will close these at 10:30. And Debbie and Julia, who just entered now, will give their 60 seconds once we come back, Debbie. So don't you worry, you will have time to speak. And I put you with someone who's relevant to you, so you will have the opportunity to schmooze. So I'm putting you into breakout rooms now in 3, 2, 1. Should have your whole music at this point. David Waxman, are you with us? David Waxman? David Waxman? Okay. Oh, for fuck's sake. Hi, welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. Debbie. Are
Hi.
you in England, Debbie?
Hmm?
Are you in England?
No, I'm here still. I'm in Israel still.
Are you going to England?
I am. I'm going in. Well, my flight's already been cancelled once, so I'm going not for another month.
Did you read the good news though?
Yeah, but it's temporary. I knew about it. I had inside.
What do you mean it's temporary, Debbie? Do tell me more.
It's a glitch. It's a mistake. How in this global world it's possible? Apparently, the way Israel report, for anyone else who's listening, Israel just went on the green list for England, so that if you go to England, you don't have to quarantine. Apparently, Israel misreported its statistics or something. A friend of mine who normally commutes had insight from the embassy a week ago, and he told me it was going to happen a week before it happened, and then it's happened, but I don't think it's going to last.
Oh, well, that's a
I
bit.
could be wrong, but I don't believe it will.
Okay, well, I'm not booking anytime soon. Okay, no one cares about this. I'm sorry, guys. This is irrelevant to you. Okay.
No, they do. We were just talking about it.
Debbie, we'll discuss this. I'm eager to hear more. I appreciate that no one else cares about England apart from Naomi, maybe. Although she lives in England. Gitty, you care about England. Gitty, you were just in England. You've done your bit. You've had your fun. I've yet to order from ASOS in a year.
We need a travel agent in the group.
Not sure travel agent want to join right now.
Travel agents are all on colour at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a great time for them to be paying out any extra money. Gitty, Debbie, and we will have a discussion later about getting ourselves to England and how we can order from ASOS with free delivery, most importantly. Okay, Yala. So, Chevre, we had 2 people join us who are members of the group, so we're going to give them the chance to give their 60-second spiel. I will create the 3rd breakout rooms as if by magic, and we will go into our 3rd breakout rooms, and then we will end the meeting. Debbie Kandel, take your time to teach yourself. I need to buy myself an extra 4 or 5 minutes. So you go to town, Miss Kandel.
Well, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm a member of ESN, Debbie Kandel, DK Strategy. I do marketing strategy with a focus on professional services, specifically law firms. I have actually not been in the group for a couple of weeks. I have been taking the benefit of going to some other meetings. I've been going to the Ramat Bet Shemesh meeting because it's in the afternoon, which actually suits me better. So anyone who doesn't go to other meetings, take advantage of the fact they're on Zoom. I highly recommend it. And I particularly like the Ramat Bet Shemesh group. I think they're a great group. Anyway, I offer marketing strategy and services to small businesses. And if anyone wants any advice, please be in touch with me.
Thank you. I love all our groups equally. They're like my children. I love them all the same. I don't have kids though, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Juliet Fezzi, I need like 3 minutes. So Juliet, you go to town, girl. You
3 minutes? That other chick didn't help me at all. She
yeah,
like
Deb, you were too short.
seconds.
Yeah, I heard that. I love the Australian. Yeah. You take your time, my love.
All right, so my name's Juliet Vesely. I run 2 companies, one called Lifestyle to Love, where I do private exercise training for people from the whole spectrum of health and ages. So if you know anyone who I guess, is just looking to lose weight or get stronger, if you know anyone who's post-birth, I can actually give rebates if they want to do classes with me or sessions with me. If you know anyone who's actually got chronic diseases, they happen to be my favorite clientele because I love being on that journey with them and showing them not what everyone's telling them they're not capable of, but I love showing them everything that they're now newly capable of through exercise. It blows them away. So I've got clients with MS, I've got clients with Parkinson's, I've got a stroke rehab, scoliosis. It's just, I don't know. I know it sounds crazy that I love working with diseases, but I feel like they get really, quite challenged, especially with the Israeli system. They don't get as much support as I found my clients got in Australia. And I feel really privileged to bring my expertise and to kind of change their life and make them more independent. So that's my Lifestyle to Love company. I also run a company called Elite Training Academy, where I decided to start teaching people how to become amazing personal trainers. And that's been a true passion of mine for the last 3 years. It's been going really well. Corona, I was just telling our group, Corona's made life a little bit challenging for people to kind of commit the time required to study the material and to come to classes, and gyms being closed made it hard. So I'm definitely looking to start another course in a couple of months, hoping that the gyms open up, but I can't predict the future. So at the moment, if you just know anyone who's looking to become a personal trainer, please get them in touch with me. Something will be happening. I don't know how, I don't know when. God is amazing. He will make miracles, and we will have a course, and I will be able to do something I love and share my passion with other people, and they will also be able to start their own businesses.
That was exactly what I needed. Thank you. That was outstanding.
Woo! That's all right.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to
things that I do.
Open all the groups. Pray to Hashem that no one's in a group for the second time. If you are, let me know. Hopefully you're not. Let's just go with it, guys. It's been one of those meetings. It's now 10:40. I'm going to close these Zooms at 10:50, and then I will just briefly explain a little bit about ESN. Before actually I do that, could everyone please look at me and smile? Could Jay and Larry, are you able to turn your cameras on by any chance? I'm going to do this anyway.
Yeah,
thank you, Larry. Jay, thank you. Everybody smile happily. Ken, you enjoying yourselves? And I'm going to do it on my phone also, so just bear with me for 3 seconds. Beautiful, Chavre, Tadaba. Okay, so and a reminder, Instagram network with Helena, you'll be tagged. It's beautiful, it's glorious. I'm going to open all the rooms. So 3, 2, 1, boo shakalaka. Don't know where that came from. That was awkward. Let's pretend it didn't happen.
Helena, you're so cool.
I try my best. I'm very British. It's not an American humor. Gitty, bye. We miss you. Dr. Kenin, why are you alone? I don't know. Somebody left, obviously. Mr. Jacobs, why are you not in a room? There we are in a room. Okay. Who's alone? Well, okay, that's fun. Maybe 2 and 5. Oh, shoot.